Hi guys, welcome once again to another edition of Mouth to Mark Online. Improve your English skills and learn English conversations online with Kumar. Hello and welcome again everyone to Mouth to Mark Online. Tips and tricks on English and life skills. For today's lesson, we are going to talk about the three kinds of responses. Now you see, we have different personalities, I agree, and we have different ways of communicating or speaking our mind. However, for this particular topic, I will give you three kinds of responses so that we could identify where we sit. However, this is not only to identify the three kinds of responses, this is also very important to know which of these responses is the best. Imagine this. A boy asked a lady, "Do you love me too?" The worst answer would be, "No, I don't love you," right? But here's another response. "I like you, but I love somebody else." Very positive, less hurting and acceptable. Not very much painful to accept, right? Another one. "Do you love me too?" The girl would say, "I'm sorry, but would it be okay if we'd just be friends?" Same answer, or actually same point, that they don't love the boy. However, I think the question is less painful, more acceptable, and at least it eases the pain that the boy is feeling, right? So that's the point of this lesson for today. So for you to remember that there are three kinds of sentences or three kinds of responses: the positive one, the negative one, and the question form. Now, you might ask yourself, which of this particular sentence would be the best way to reply? For me, it depends on the situation. Sometimes we have to use negative sentences if we need to give power to our disagreements. If there are times that we need to make a statement that something is unacceptable, irrational, or non-negotiable, then so be it. It hurts when it hurts, but you have to cut short and cut clean. Like, I don't like that. That's non-negotiable. I don't accept that. That's okay. However, in our life right now, in the business, in the academy, or in this world that is full of chaos, I think to be more humane and worthwhile in exchange of our words or communication, I would suggest that we use positive scripting and, of course, the question form. I'd like to explain that further. If you want to say, "I cannot help you with that, I'm sorry," I think it's better to say, "I have something to finish at the moment, I'm sorry," instead of saying, "I cannot," right? I have something to finish. "I don't like the design and the format." That's harsh, right? I don't like the design and format. Instead of saying, "I don't like," you say, "Could we change some of the design and format?" "I cannot finish the work this week, I'm very busy." You say, "I'm afraid I will need 2 weeks more to finish this work." And I would like to stress this word, very busy. Now, everybody's working is busy. You cannot work in a company or in a school when you're not busy. So you cannot make that as an excuse for not being able to help someone. Instead of saying, "I'm very busy," you say, "I have something to finish. I have to finish a report today." Or, "I have to finish a report. I have to submit this today." Right? Because when you say, or when you respond to your colleagues, "I am very busy right now," they would always say, "Me too," because we're all working, right? See? Don't use that phrase anymore. Change it. "I have something to finish. I have to send this to Mr. Mark," or anything else, but not, "I'm very busy." Okay? And the last one, "My boss doesn't want to give a discount." Instead of saying that, you say, we can only give you a standard price today or this time. Even better. So, how do you say no to this particular statement? Please send me the file today. We have a meeting this afternoon. Instead of saying, I cannot send it today, you say, I'm sorry, I can only send the file tomorrow. Are you available for a conference call on Wednesday? Instead of saying, I'm not available, you say, sorry, I am only available on Friday. Can you give me 15% discount? Instead of saying, I cannot, you say, I can only give you 5% this time, sir. Can you give me the report? Instead of saying, I cannot give you the report, you say, I'm sorry, it's confidential. However, is this already okay when you're talking to your boss? Let's say you're talking to your boss and your boss would say, please send me the file today, Mark. We have a meeting this afternoon. Could you say to your boss, I'm sorry, boss, I can only send the file tomorrow. Could you say that? Yes, I agree. However, it would not really sound nice and polite. Why? He's the boss. You just don't tell him, I cannot send it today, boss. See? There is a saying, anonymous saying that goes, you have to feed the ego of your boss or to the person that you're talking to win the argument. So instead of saying, I'm sorry, boss, I cannot send you the file I can only send you the file tomorrow, you say, I'm sorry, boss, could I send tomorrow instead? See? Question form. Giving him the right to decide. Feeding his ego. Are you available for a conference call on Wednesday, Mark? You'd say, I'm sorry, boss, I'm only available on Friday. Correct grammar, but bad English to use to your boss. Instead, you say, boss, I'm sorry, could we meet on Friday instead? Okay, so there's a technical problem with our computer, but you say, I'm sorry, could we meet on Friday instead? See, giving him the decision. Can you give me 15% discount instead of saying, I can only give you 5% this time, sir? If that's a very important client or customer, you say, would you buy it at 5%? See, question form. Feeding their ego, giving them the power. Can you give me the report? You don't say, I'm sorry, it's confidential. When your boss is asking, or when the person, higher authority is asking, you just don't tell them, I'm sorry, it's confidential. You have to say, could I just give you a copy? Question form. Giving them the power to decide. Even better, right? Good. Now, here are some examples of the application. Instead of saying I'm not available, you say I wish I could come, or could we reschedule? I cannot do that for you. You say I will help you find someone. That's a great sentence. Or could we look for others? See, question form. I can't give you 20% discount. You say I can only give you 10%, or the question form which goes, is 10% okay with you? So it's really up to you to use positive or question form. However, I would suggest if you are talking to someone higher than you or your boss, you use the question form because it gives more of the power to your boss instead of you. So you don't have the power, you have the idea, but your boss has the power. So feed their ego. Last example. When your boss is asking you for an idea, like for example, what do you think is the best color for our shirt or uniform? And then you say, I think pink is better. I think that pink is better. You don't feed the idea or the decision to your boss. But when you say, boss, could we try this one? Or boss, do you think this pink one is great? And then your boss will say, nice idea. You see, you're giving the idea and the power to decide to your boss. Okay? So always remember, positive scripting is sometimes not enough. There are times when when we are right, we have the most acceptable arguments. We have to be humble and be calm to give the power, the decision, and the prerogative to the person of a higher authority. Sometimes our brains don't win in arguments. Our hearts do. I hope you learned something today and see you again next time. Bye bye.